presentation on this Google Doc as well. As you can see, the first objective that we're going to do today is find a resource calendar. What about the state of Iowa holiday schedule? So we're going to go ahead and find the state of Iowa holiday schedule and learn how to add it to your own Google Calendar app. Once we do that, then we'll learn more about out of office and interoperability within the Google Workspace environment. So that's our first two objectives. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the calendar app. I'm going to go ahead and go to the calendar app. I already have it open. We've talked about in the previous training, in the beginning Google Calendar, we talked about settings, and we set up our calendar app settings, and we've talked about setting up our calendar settings. We dived into all that in the previous training. So now we're going to dive into more of the advanced features. And the very first advanced feature that we're going to discuss in Objective 1 is to find your resource calendar, a resource calendar, but we're going to do more of a hands-on where you can actually add the state of Iowa holiday calendar as well. So what you do is you would go to your calendar app, and underneath other calendars, you will find a plus button. Under the plus button, right by other calendars, you will see then the option to do several things. This is where we, in the previous training, subscribed to a trainer account to see one of our coworkers' calendars view. That's a different vocabulary, subscribing to that. You can create a new calendar. We can also browse resources and browse calendar of interest. We're going to focus on these two for a second. We're going to go ahead and select browse resources. So on the browse resources, you will notice there is resources by agency acronym. So for example, if I worked at ABD, I would have access to the resource calendars here and be able to subscribe and see these. These would be like conference rooms or other types of resource calendars that maybe you want to be visible inside your own calendar app. So this would be your so-called homework assignment. Is there any calendars in your agency that you might want to subscribe to? So you could actually select your agency acronym, look to see if there's any calendars that might apply for you. So like many administrative assistants may want to have access to the conference rooms or public meetings or whatever that might want to have quickly and easy and accessible in their Google Calendar app. Now, since that is your homework assignment, if there's anything you want to add, all you would do is select by clicking on the check mark, and then you'll be able to see that particular calendar inside your calendar app. Now, what we're going to actually do, because this applies to everybody, is the state of Iowa holiday calendar. So what you would do is scroll down to Other, and you will find there is an option to select Official State of Iowa Holidays. So go ahead and you would select Official State of Iowa Holidays, and now you will have the holidays appear in your Google Calendar. So this is updated from the DAS website, and we update this for you guys so you can have it easily and accessible on your Google Calendar. So once you have it selected, much like mine shows, you would then go ahead and click the back button, and then you will see a brand new calendar appear underneath your other calendars. So in this case, mine is purple. We talked about this in the previous training that you can change the color. If you wanted the state of Iowa holiday calendar to be a different color, remember that 3 dots in Google Land means ... Google has more for you, and you can change the color, adjust the settings, display this one only, and so much more. So now, just to show you how that looks, I can tell you the next holiday that we're going to have. I'm going to go dismiss. We're going to talk about focus time in a minute. We're going to go ahead and go to the month view. And the next holiday that I'm aware of is in May. So the next holiday that we have off as a state employee is Memorial Day, which is May 30th. So you can see that the purple color in my particular calendar view, you can see that you have Memorial Day as the state holiday. Exciting stuff. Who doesn't want more days off? So this kind of goes into the next objective. The next objective is, let me backtrack. There's one more fun thing that I always forget that I kind of do, especially it's March Madness. So it's actually kind of perfect timing. you may want to add a sports calendar. So I'm a Cyclone fan, so this only applies to Cyclone fans, just joking. But this is where you might want to add the Iowa State football team, or the Kansas City Chiefs, or you want to add some sports calendars on there. This is just a fun little thing you can do. So what you can do is add another resource calendar, and this is so business related, right? So we can click on the plus button and you'll see browse calendars of interest. So let's go ahead and select that. So this is not a resource calendar per se, it is a calendars of interest. When you go to calendars of interest, you can see that there is holidays, religious holidays. If you want to add those, that's something you can have visible inside your own calendar if you choose to, because you're really just customizing your own calendar, right? What do you want to see? And then you can see where you can actually select sports. So if I wanted to look at basketball, because it's March Madness, I can select the league that I'm referring to, that I'm interested in. So I can go ahead and select the NCAA men's basketball. And then you'll see that it will then bring up all the colleges here in a minute. Honestly, it does. Just really thinking right now. There we go. So again, it doesn't have to just relate to the state of Iowa. You can see, you can pick any mascot state that you're interested. I'll just to make it time, I'll pick the Baylor Bears. I always like their uniforms. They're bright and green and yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and select Baylor. But again, you will see now I have the Baylor Bears schedule appear for their basketball as well inside here. So again, I don't know how it's fed in here, but it's pretty accurate. It's probably very similar to a Google search. Now it's just inside your Google Calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and hit back, and you can subscribe to more. That's just a fun little thing. Extra credit, add the Cyclones, add the Hawks. You have that capability of doing it by sport and league. And now you can see I have the Baylor Bears showing up on my Google Calendar as well. So kind of a fun thing to do. Again, just some fun stuff to look at when you have time. So with that, the other thing I wanted to, there we go. They played the Cyclones. They played them on March 5th. So you even have the little score. So how cool is that? Funny anyway. So with that, you can see how to add a sports calendar for my sports junkies or any other special holidays that you might want to add. So the next objective that we're going to talk about is out of office in Google Calendar and the interoperability with Google Workspace. This is probably one of the most effective ways to communicate to your coworkers when you're going to be gone. So let's do this in real life. Like when I was doing hands-on training, I'd actually have our end users do this following activity because it's very important. Do you know when your next day for sure is off? Well, that in this particular case, at this current time, that is going to be May 31st. We know our next May 30th, excuse me, our next state of Iowa holiday is Memorial Day, which is May 30th. Guess what? You are going to be out of office that day. You are not going to be working. And I can bet every single one of you have received an invitation for a calendar invite on a state of Iowa holiday. And so the person that sent you that invite has egg on their face, right? They made the mistake and didn't realize that that particular day is a holiday. You can look like you know what you're doing, you're organized, you're planning ahead, because if you set yourself out of office and that person sends you an email calendar invitation for that day, you're going to automatically decline it with this feature because you're going to be gone that day. So let's go ahead and show you best practice on how to do out of office and why it is so important to set yourself out of office in your Google Calendar app. So let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and select the 30th. And remember, if we can select by the day by clicking on the number of the day that we want to go to. So now my working hours are 9 to 5. Remember, I'm not a morning person. So I'm going to select the period that I am working, that my normal hours are. My normal hours are 9 to 5. So I'm selecting the hours that I work. Again, that's customized to you. What are your hours? I don't know. So now you've selected the time frame that you work. Do not do an all-day event. Okay, do not do an all-day event. do the time period that you actually work. Okay. Now, we're not going to actually create an event. We're going to actually select the option out of office. So when you do that, do you see all these different options that we can do? It defaults to event because that's what you're going to use most of the time. But in this case, we're actually going to select out of office. Now watch what happens. Your screen will change. You're going to select out of office, and then you would select, you can see it selects the day, Monday, May 30th, the time 9 to 5:15. Now, some of you have asked me in the past, can you repeat those out of office? And the answer is yes. So why would you use that? Maybe you always are out of the office from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock every Friday. Lucky you, right? Or maybe you have a weird schedule and you want to put every Monday you're off. Whatever the case may be, you can have the capability of repeating this. So you have the option right under here to repeat it in a very similar fashion that we practice in the beginning Google Calendar. So you can repeat it by custom and so much more, okay? We're not going to repeat it because really Memorial Day is how it's going to work for this particular example. Then you have some options here. Notice automatically decline meetings. Well, I would say yes I would do new and existing. So what does that mean? If I had a meeting scheduled on May 30th, it would automatically, when I set this out of office, would cancel. It would send them a decline notification. I'm not going to be there. Well, that makes perfect sense, right? If I'm not going to be in the office, I'm not going to meet with you, right? So it just makes sense to have Google do the hard work for you, right? Or maybe you want to just kind of wait and see kind of thing. You might want to select only new meeting invitations, meaning after I set this out of office, anything that comes to me on that particular day, it would decline it. Okay. So you have two options. Again, I think most of you would fall into the second button and choose new and existing meetings. Now you can customize this message. So maybe you want to say decline because I am on maternity leave for the next 3 months, right? You can customize that decline message, okay? So do know that you can do this. Do know that you can actually put out of office and say on spring break vacation, whatever. I could actually type in this one, say Memorial Day, right? That would make sense. And you can give it a little more description, right? That's up to you. The next one, by default, if this is your very first time ever doing it, it's probably going to go by your default visibility. Meaning, if we talked about this in the previous training, we suggest that you at least have your default visibility to be busy and free in the state of Iowa. And then you might have shared it to particular people within the state of Iowa that have a Google account. I do not recommend doing private. That's not going to do anybody any good, okay? I recommend, even for out of office, to make it public, because then they know when they view your calendar, they will be able to see that you're out of office instead of just free and busy. That is my best practice. But again, if you don't feel comfortable with the public word, you can choose default visibility. But again, if you're out of office, you're out of office. There's nothing confidential about being out of office unless it's something that you don't want to share, right? But I would make that default. And if you're unsure, you can see how it works in greater detail with the question mark and get a better understanding of the visibility. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Okay. Now, one question I get all the time about this is not the same thing as doing your email out of office response. So when you set that does not mean in your Gmail. I just want to be very clear on this. I've gotten this question. If you set yourself out of office in Gmail, it does not do your vacation responder automatically. You have to tell the vacation responder that you are going to be gone. That might change down the road, but at this current time, it is 2 steps. If you're out of office and you're going to be gone tomorrow, best practice would be, if I'm gone tomorrow for spring break for the next 4 days, wouldn't that be nice? I would make sure I have myself marked out of office in my Google Calendar as I just showed you. And I would have to go into my calendar, or my Gmail settings, excuse me. and go into my vacation responder and turn that on. So if I was going to be the most efficient and communicate to everybody that I'm going to be gone, or if they send me an email, I'm going to communicate that as well, I would do the out of office in Google Calendar and make sure I have vacation responder on. That is best practice, okay, if you're going to be gone, okay? So keep that in mind. So let's understand why I keep pushing the out of office in Google Calendar. So with this Google Calendar option we just did, let's do an example. I'm going to show you why it's really important. So I'm bringing over another trainer account. Trainer 4, Lucky Dog, is on vacation. Trainer 4 is on vacation. How do you know that? I'm telling you, that's obvious. But I also want to show you what Trainer 4 has set on her calendar. So new account, someone different. My coworker, my best friend is gone. Let's just look at this. Oh, sorry, hold on. It's been one of those days. So you can see today's Tuesday, March 15th, and she, Trainer 4, my bestie, is currently out of office from 9 to 5 today. She's not here. She's on vacation, enjoying nice weather. It's probably nicer here than wherever she's at, right? She's gone. All right. Now that we know that, because I'm educating you, but maybe sometimes I don't know when my bestie is going to be gone and she's just not here. Okay. Well, what do you normally do with your coworker that you talk to all the time, right? So now I'm me. I'm in Trainer 9 right now, and I need to talk to Trainer 4. Trainer 4 is really someone I need to talk to. I would talk to Trainer 4 via chat, right? I would go to the plus sign, start a chat, and start talking to her, right? I'm showing you right now the importance of setting yourself out of office with the calendar feature. Might help if I spell her name right. So I'm starting a conversation with Trainer 4. Oh, look at that. At the bottom of that, notice Trainer 4 is out of office, back tomorrow. The reason why this little message appears is because she did best practice and marked herself out of office using the calendar app portion. Okay. All right. Maybe I didn't chat her. So now if I chat her, I know she's not going to respond today. She shouldn't. She's out of office. Now, let's say I was going to compose an email to that person that did best practice. Oh, hallelujah. At the bottom, you notice Trainer 4 is out of office, be back tomorrow. What does this do for me? Well, it tells me that Trainer 4 is not going to get back to me, is she? More than likely not. So it could tell me I need to contact someone else that maybe is her backup because I need the information now, right? Or I know to wait patiently for Trainer 4 to get back to me when she's back from her vacation. The other thing you can do, though, the other way it communicates within your Google Workspace environment is in Google Docs. So if I go to my Drive, bear with me as I pull it up. So let's say I'm collaborating on a Google Doc with this person that's is on vacation and enjoying the nice weather. Maybe I'm working on this collaborative document, which is the beauty of Google Drive. We can work on documents at the same time. Here's an example. Now I want to work with Trainer 4 on this, and I want to comment on this particular area. Once it comes up, I can right-click and choose comment, or when it stops spinning here, I can click on the comment option over here or comment over here. Once I tag that particular person I'm trying to work with, then I will have the option to see that she's out of office. So to tag somebody in a comment, you can see the instructions. It just says add the @ sign and start typing in their email address. And there's Trainer 4. Notice it tells me here when that person's going to be returning. She'll be back on March 16th. So if you didn't learn anything in this Google training, please know the importance of communicating effectively by marking yourself out of office in Google Calendar. All right. And make sure when you mark yourself out of office that I would suggest with my years of experience, make it public so you can see it. So if I pulled up Trainer 4's account right now and I wanted to know if she was available, I'm going to see, I think I set that one up like that. That might help to get on the right day. I can see that she's out of office, okay, because I chose public, okay? So keep that in mind. So make sure you mark yourself out of office when you're going to be gone. And when I did the hands-on training, I would be one of those people, go pull up the state of Iowa holiday calendar. You learned how to do that, and mark yourself out of office for each holiday. Then you will have it marked correctly for all your state of Iowa holidays. So that's one of probably my favorite trainings, portion of calendar. The other thing that's really cool, and I think I find this more of a need now than even in the office, because we are bombarded a lot. So what we're going to focus on now is set focus time in Google Calendar. So for example, this is a true need. I am currently working on a mobile update, and I have to be honest, it's taking, that's why I was running late today. A lot of interruptions, lots of chats, lots of emails, lots of whatever. But believe it or not, I have other projects I need to get done. It's a true fact. I really do. Like, get this training done, right? You really need to just focus on that project. So you need to just shut everybody else off. And sometimes the best way to do that is to mark it on your calendar. I am just really not available right now. And so you can actually set focus time. Also, it just tells, like, if people are trying to schedule meetings with you and you really need to block 2 hours before you present, it's telling you, like, I'm unavailable at this time because I'm focusing on a project. I'm focusing on what needs to be. So you have a new option. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do some focus time between 3 and 5, 3 to 4 today. I need to shut some things off. This is my time. I need to focus on what I need to focus on. This time, this is a newer feature. You have the option to hit focus time. So what does it do? You can do very similar concepts that you can do with out of office. You can obviously repeat if you choose to. So some people, I know a lot of managers like to set focus time on Friday afternoon from 12 to 5 because, one, they got to do time cards. They got to do a lot of stuff just to finish things up for the week to kind of prepare themselves for the future, right? For the next week. And so this is how you can just kind of be more productive, right? So you can set a repeatable focus time. Preserve your time the way you want to preserve it. Then you have the option to automatically decline meetings if you choose to. That's up to you. And so much more. Same thing applies. Very similar concept as out of office. So I'm not going to repeat myself on this, but that is the same way you would do it. But now it looks different. It has a little headset. It's telling you this is a focus time. Focus time is also going towards your time insights as well. So we talked about time insights and how it keeps track of how you use your time wisely. That will also go towards your time insights as well. So you can go ahead and hit save. Now, the one thing that focus time does not do the same as out of office, it doesn't really give you a pop-up notification throughout your Google Workspace. So everything I just showed you, like it shows in chat, that shows you in Docs, shows you in Gmail, it does not show in focus time, okay? What focus time really does at this current time, I foresee this changing, but I don't have any proof on that. I just foresee that's what's going to happen down the road. Focus time is just preserving your calendar. I need to work on this project at this time. Instead of marking yourself as in a busy event, this would be just saying, this is my focus time. And that's another way to track it within your time insights as well. So just another way, another category that you can use. So kind of be aware of that as you will. And now you can see that you have a new little focus time inside here. So again, just teaching you or not teaching you really, you already probably know how to be focused, but also giving you a tool that you can use within Google Workspace to focus on a particular task in hand. So the next thing we're doing, we're actually, if you're following along, we're actually in Objective 4 in the Google Docs. So if you're following along, I hope you realize by now, if you're on that Google Doc, Calendar has made a lot of updates within the last year, especially if we go back to the, I'm repeating myself, to the hybrid model that we've talked about with the COVID response, and making us more efficient, understanding where we work, how we work, all those things. You'll notice within this, there's a lot of Google Currents updates, a lot of resources for you regarding the out office, and so much more. So make sure that you're checking out these resources if you don't understand my training that I'm providing you for you today. So where we're at now is objective 4, understanding Google Meet settings. Now I understand this is really calendar training. Don't get me wrong, we do have Google Meet training coming up, but if you have been using Google Meet and Google Calendar, you know they're kind of hand in hand, right? Most of us set up our Google Calendar invitations through Google Calendar, obviously, but we're also inviting them to join a Google Meet that way. And so you need to know that they do work hand in hand. So we're going to kind of touch base a little bit about Google Meet and how you can adjust your settings within Google Calendar as well regarding your Google Meet environment. So let's go ahead and just go ahead and create a Google Calendar invitation. So I'm just going to go ahead and select, we're not training on how to create events today. We already did that, but I'm just going to demo this. So we have like a live demo. So let's say I have a meeting from 5 to 6, and I'm just going to say Google Meet training. And I'm going to add a guest. And again, I don't know if trainer 5 is available. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to do trainer 1. Remember, if we're really caring about time, if they're available, we would use the find the time feature. We would do all that. And we know by now that the half moon is telling us what? I ask you guys that. It means that that's past their working hours. So really, we're not doing best practice here by scheduling at this time, right? They're both really not available. And they're giving us that information without even scheduling it any further, right? So just remember, we see these things for a reason. So be nice to your coworkers. Don't schedule a 5 to 6 because they did best practice by informing you that you're marking this outside their working hours. Okay. And you can always select suggested times and select a better time that would work for all of them, or go ahead and choose find time. So I'm just kind of recapping that for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit save just to show you, because I want the bigger screen. But you can go ahead and click the gear and so much more. So you have that option. I'll just go ahead and click more options actually to get the full screen so you guys can see it better. So regardless, you have the same icons up here. You have the copy, the gear, and the drop down all appeared in that little pop-up window as well. But I wanted to give you a full screen effect. Okay, so when you hit save, and let me backtrack. So let me backtrack just a little bit. Now, this is where it's not consistent agency-wide, okay? When you invite somebody, like I just did, I invited trainer 1 and trainer 4. In my environment, it automatically created a Google Meet, okay? In my environment, my organization, OCIO allows us to automatically, when invite a user, to do a Google Meet. Now, there are some agencies that do not want that feature. They want to use Zoom or other video conferencing tools. So with that, they did not want every time you invite someone to automatically add a Google Meet, okay? So if you, for some reason, fall in the organization that has that capability, just like I demonstrated, and you don't want that Google Meet to be part of it for that rare instance that you're using Zoom, or that rare instance you're doing something totally different, or you're all going to meet in the office, you can just remove the Google Meet by clicking the X. Okay. I do not recommend that we remove the Google Meet environment for all OUs, but there is some organizations that want that. I don't want that for most of you because most of us join by Google Meet, right? So it's a reverse. You would have to select add Google Meet if you fall in that environment. Does that make sense? But most of you, probably 75% of you, every time you invite somebody, have the same look as I do. Okay, automatically does that. And why would it do that? Because most of us probably don't meet in person anymore, right? And our way we join is Google Meet. So it's just helping us to have one less click. Now, what you have here is you have some options here. The drop down, let's go ahead and click the drop down, provides you all the meeting information. You can, if you choose to, you could edit the meeting ID. I have never done that once. So if you want to, you could edit the meeting ID. If for some reason, I could see it in a case scenario where you didn't duplicate an event, but you want it to be the exact same meeting code, or maybe you sent out a publication wrong. You're like, this is the actual meeting code that I should have used, but it's not the right one. Adjust it. You can adjust it here. Okay. So know that you can edit your meeting ID code if you need to. Not something probably used very often. This is where, like in this example, I can add a live stream. You have to add the live stream capability here. Not have to, it's one of the ways here. So when you do create an event, you have that live stream option. The other thing you have is the gear. I'm not going to explain that. If you want more on live stream, I'd be more happy to talk more about that. The next thing is the gear. The gear is probably the most important thing. What we need to understand is if you create the event, you created the event, you are the organizer. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But you are the organizer. You're also the host of the Google Meet. Big words, big titles. You are the organizer and the host of the Google Meet. Very important to know that, okay? So what you have is, you notice under the video call options, you have the keyword host. You are the host. And the default is that we have quick access on. Quick access means pretty much in a nutshell, anybody can join as long as they have the URL, okay? Now, there are times, and this probably is an 80-20 rule, 20% of times that maybe you want quick access turned off. Why would you want quick access turned off? Let's give you a scenario. I'm training maybe 500 people, or maybe it's a very confidential meeting and I really want them to knock, in a sense, before they join. Who am I allowing to come into this very confidential meeting? So you might, in that case, want to turn it off. But again, going back to the 80% rule, most of us join a Google Calendar meeting with our coworkers. We know who we're talking with. This isn't, a one-on-one. We don't want to be knocking in on all that because the host has to join first, right? So when we use that, when it's turned off, okay? So that is where you turn it off if you want. Again, I don't foresee that, but you can see when turned off, the host must join first. Only people invited by the host can join without asking. Everyone else must ask to join, and only hosts can dial out of a meeting. So you can see when it's off, it is more restrictive. So again, you might not want to turn that on for very last minute, okay? This other one is attendance tracking. Now that's powerful. When I do training or I have a meeting that I need to know who was all there, I would turn attendance tracking on here as well. And even if you duplicate this event, or repeat this event, it's going to do the attendance tracking for every repeated event. So if you do have a leadership meeting every Friday at 9 and you want to see who attended, which day, you can have an attendance tracking report be sent to you after the meeting's done. We will talk more about that in Google Meet training. But this is one of the places, again, Google likes to give us options. In the Google Calendar options, you can turn attendance tracking on in the event itself. The other thing is breakout rooms. This is where, again, this is all regarding Google Meet, but you can get this set up in advance in your Google Calendar. So it's really important to know that. Breakout rooms is a way, like if we are having 10 people in this meeting, I can have 5 of you go to the finance department and 5 of you go to the HR department. They can join the main call, like we just did, join the main call, like most of us do, and then I could break you guys out, okay? They go to a whole new separate URL, but we're all tied together. We're branched off, okay? So you can actually set up those departments or groups or rooms, however you want to call them, ahead of time. So if I was the CIO and I said, okay, I want the finance department and the HR department to be broken out, it would be a lot easier as a host to break it out now ahead of time, set up my breakout rooms ahead of time. And then when I'm ready for the meeting, all this is ready to go. And all I have to do is say breakout. So it lets you use your time wisely ahead of time and prepare for these bigger meetings. So you can, inside that, you can do that. You do have to save. And so that is where that is. So where I went to make those adjustments to your conference call is going to the gear and finding those options. Now, the other thing many of us may want to do is you may want to just say, hey, join this meet. And maybe you didn't invite them or whatever the case may be, but or maybe you're publicizing and sending a communication out and you want them to be able to join the Google Meet information. You can copy by clicking on the 2 pieces of paper, I always call it the duplex. You can copy that and then paste that into an email or someone in chat and they can join this Google Meet and it provides them all this information that's showing here. So you don't have to to type it up on your own. You're just copying it and it would then show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like when you paste it. It provides you the title, the date, the video call information, and so much more. So this is a really good way to put in a communication or on a social media, hey, join our Google Meet. So that's just a quick way to get all the information copied over correctly, because that's the key, right? Copying the information correctly. So that's all your little settings within the conferencing as well. Make sure I didn't forget anything. I can't emphasize enough without spending too much time on this. Google Meet has made so many more, made a lot of changes in the last year. And again, same reason that we keep talking about it. But inside here, you will see there's a Google Meet page, and we have broke it down in a lot of different areas. And so if you're following that 20% that want to have additional co-hosts and want to do a whole bunch of bells and whistles and limited access and want to restrict, maybe you're comparing from Zoom to Google Meet, this is the place to go. You need to go to the Google Meet page and you will see the breakdown and have a better understanding of what can be done in Google Meet and so much more if you're trying to do a cost savings between Zoom and so much other vendors that you might be working with. Also, there's some other Google Meet and calendar understanding the things that we just discussed in Objective 4, understanding Google Meet settings. So what we're doing next in Objective 5 is to add to calendar, publish to event. What this means is you guys did this for me. I used the publish to event option. Do you remember when you registered for this class, the people that are joining live stream, you actually clicked on add to calendar and then this event was added to your calendar directly, right? I use the publish to event feature. So if we went to Google Help training page, upcoming training page, let's just demo what we're going to do. So if you go to upcoming training page, and if I wanted to attend the upcoming drive training, I'm going to actually go over here and give it a minute, and I'm going to click on add to calendar. So if I want to go to the March 29th intermediate Google Drive training, I clicked on add to calendar. Watch what happens. I click add to calendar, and then it gives me all the event details. And then I have the option to add it to my calendar, right? That's what we're going to do next. How did I get that URL for me to have other users save that particular event? That's what we're going to do next. Okay, so with that, let's create one. So this would be used for social media or communication. The thing you have to be realized though, this add to calendar feature only works with other Google account users. So if you were sending add to calendar to DHS or Iowa Workforce Development, those users that do not use Google, this add to calendar feature would not work. Why? Because they do not have a Google account, okay? So I want to make sure you understand that, but it works great for Google users, right? So what we can do is I'm going to go ahead and make a calendar invitation from 7 to 8, and we're going to say party at Jessica's. Why? I want more people to come, right? And I'm going to, I could add a co-host if I wanted to, or a person, you know, directly from here, but man, I don't really want to do that. But I probably should add a description. Say, come join the fun and so much more. Okay. All the details are in that calendar, just like the one that you added to your own calendar, right? But what we need to make sure of when we're doing this is very important, is your visibility. This event, not your whole calendar, doesn't have to be, but you could, but this event has to be public. Okay. It has to be, sorry, wrong thing. It has to be public. Okay. This visibility has to be public. Think about it. How are they going to add to that if they can't even see it, right? So make sure it's public. Okay. That is important. Okay. So you do the event as you normally would. We probably should add a conference, Google Meet conferencing, right? Because it's going to be a Google Meet. Notice I had to do add that time because I did not invite someone to this one, right? So I had to physically click add, okay? And again, attach, do what you want with it. Keep in mind permissions have to be different in a drive. So now I think it's set up. Like I said, I'm not training you on how to do events, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. Now I want to publicize this, and anybody that gets this particular URL, just like I demonstrate, will then be able to add Party at Jessica's in their own calendar. So how do you do that? I'm going to actually click on the event, not double click, just clicking on it. And I'm going to click on the 3 dots. 3 dots in Google Land means ... Google's got more. When you click on the 3 dots, you have the option to publish event. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this event. Once I publish it, you have 2 different URLs. HTML code, you could embed it inside a Google site or a website. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link to the event. I'm going to go ahead and copy that link. Okay. Once I copy it, I could go ahead and publicize it, do what I just did with the add to calendar, but I just want to demonstrate this in email form. Hey, party at my place. Click here to add to your calendar. Why would I use this? This means it's an opt-in opportunity, right? It's not forcing me to put Trainer 4 calendar on there. I'm not forcing Trainer 4 to have that on her calendar, right? By inviting her. It's more of a, I'm opting in to go to this party. I'm going to add it to my calendar. I'm not going to know if she added it to her calendar. I'm not. But it is a way to know, like, they got all the information if they click add to your calendar, right? So like the people that are on my call right now, I don't know who you are, but you apparently did add to your calendar, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click here. I'm going to teach you a little rich texting if you have not done that before. I'm going to highlight here. And I'm going to paste that URL. Remember, I copied that publish event earlier. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to hit send to Trainer 4. Now, Trainer 4 decided to come back early for her training or from her trip. So I'm Trainer 4 now. I'm putting Trainer 4, the one that was on vacation. So I'm waiting for my email from Trainer 9. I must have the 30-second delay on my email. There we go. Party at my place. All right, so trainer 9 sent an invitation, an email invitation to trainer 4. Oh, trainer 4 is like, yeah, I want to come to Jessica's party. I'm going to go ahead and click here. Notice it will bring up the calendar invitation, the calendar invite, the event, excuse me. And now I'm going to opt in to go to Jessica's party. Give it a minute. I'm going to hit save once it comes up. Oh yeah, there's the details. Come join the fun, much more. Here's the meet information. Everything I need is on that calendar, and I'm going to hit save. Now that party with Jessica at 7 o'clock tonight is on trainer 4's calendar. Okay. So that is a little bit different than adding a guest, right? So can you imagine if I sent a calendar invitation for all the trainings I had and put it on everybody's email? Can you imagine how irritated people would be, right? You guys chose to come to the training. You opt in. That is a benefit of using that feature. So with that, what's next on our agenda? Let's pull up the doc. So the next one is regarding the keyword Objective 6, change owner of event. So I wish Google would just stay with 1 or 2 terms, but apparently they kind of make it kind of confusing. When you create a calendar event, you are the organizer. You are also the owner of the event. You're also the host of a Google Meet. You are the champion of all champions. You're the owner. You are the one that shares permission in Google Meet. It's just a lot of things to be aware of. So when you are the creator of the event, just think that you are the queen or king of that event. Okay. Most important person to make sure it all runs effectively. Now, I don't want to be the organizer, or I can't be at that meeting, or I can't really want any of the invitation to be under my name. Okay. Then you need to change ownership of that event. So, example, J&J Google training. I'm going to do Tuesday's training, but Jolene is going to do Wednesday. I created both of them. Okay. I am the queen of that particular event, right? So Jolene's the one that's going to be in charge that day. I would want to change the Wednesday event and change ownership. That's an example of maybe why you might want to change ownership. Okay. So I've given you some terminology in that Google Doc as well, just to be understanding of what takes place. The other important factor of that, so like, for example, if Jolene's taking care of that Wednesday meeting, she's got to accept that transfer of ownership. So think of it as a house, right? If you're transferring ownership between a house, you have to sign the world off, right? Same concept. If you're going to be the new owner of that event, you're going to make sure you accept that as well. So let's practice that and make sure we understand that. So we're going to follow in this scenario. So we're going to create an event from 9 to 10. And that's way past my bedtime. So someone else has to cover this event, okay? We're going to say too late for Jess, okay? So from 9 to 10:15 is the time, okay? And I'm going to add some guests this time, okay? I'm going to go ahead and add trainer 1. Just to show you, you don't have to be a guest to be an owner, to change ownership. Okay, so let's say Jess, myself, trainer 9, and trainer 1 are part of this event, okay? Notice before I get to jump happy here, trainer 4 is not part of this event, okay? Trainer 4 is not part of this event. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. All right. Now I decided I'm the queen right now for this particular event, right? I am the owner, I'm the host, I'm all of it, right? So, but again, 9 o'clock is way past my bedtime. I need someone to like make sure they have the right permissions for this event that I'm not going to be part of, right? So I'm going to click on this and I need to see if someone will cover for me, right? In a sense, right? Or I want them to have all the ownership of the meeting recordings and the chats and having no issues, right? Or maybe I'm going to turn quick access off. You have to think of all these things. So just remember who is the queen or the king of the event is important to know. So now I'm not going to be part of that, okay? I can actually change ownership. So I'm going to change ownership. I could change it to trainer 1. She could do it, right? But I also want to show you they don't have to be a person in the event itself. Trainer 4, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I would like to transfer ownership of this event. Okay. All right. I'm going to change ownership. So trainer 4 is going to get an email. Okay. Right now, it still says, let trainer 4 get the email here in a minute. Notice I'm still, trainer 9 is still the organizer. It's thinking there for a minute. It's thinking, it's coming. Okay, so trainer 4 has not accepted the invitation yet. I told you, it's like buying a house, right? So trainer 9 has not accepted, or trainer 4 has not accepted it yet. So I just wanted to show you that. Trainer 4 is going to get an email. Let me pull that up in a minute so you can see the full effect. Okay, so now I'm in trainer 4, the one that's supposed to be on vacation, my bestie. Trainer 4. I'm looking for a transfer of ownership here. Just here it is. Transfer event to the title of the event. Trainer 9, which is me today, would like to transfer ownership to Late for Jess. To accept, click this long URL. I have to accept the transfer of ownership. So trainer 4, my bestie, is accepting this right now. And now trainer 4, my bestie, just to help clarify too many trainer accounts, is going to be now the new owner of the Too Late for Jess. And you can see that trainer 4 is now the organizer. Okay. So big difference there. That's how that process works. Okay. And why it's important. It's probably more important now than it ever did before. Okay. And if this was a repeating event, it would do it for all repeating events as well. So like the Workday initiative, a lot of times maybe PMs change, they'll change and so on. It's very important if someone leaves. So if I left tomorrow and all these trainings, I would probably think, okay, well, we need to make sure someone else is an owner. Why? Because the meeting recordings, the owner has ultimate rights to share. They are the host, right? You can add more co-hosts now, but they still are the host that can add more co-hosts, right? So they just have a more of an important role than they ever did before when Meet is tied to a calendar invitation, okay? So just be aware of that, okay? So it is an important thing to make sure you know how to transfer ownership when need be. Let's go back to the party at Jessica's. What we're going to talk about next is adding detailed descriptions and adding attachments to an event. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's do the Google training one instead. Exactly. Let's do the Google training one. So let's say I finally got some information I want to add to the event. I can always click on the event. I think my mouse might be dying here. Okay. Maybe need to add more batteries. Okay, so I need to add some more details to this event that we created earlier. So we know by now a pencil will make sure we can edit any content, right? So we're going to click on the pencil to edit this event. I could do this when I create an event as well, but I'm just trying to save myself some clicks here and not have to start another event. All right, so we talked about in the previous training how you can quickly get meeting notes where it ties into Google Docs. This is a feature request that many of you have wanted, to be able to create an agenda directly from Google Calendar or create notes from a Google Calendar. You have that capability of doing so by clicking Create Meeting Notes directly from here now. Guess what it does? It's actually my workaround that I provided many times in the past training. It creates a Google Doc. The good news is it is less clicks this way, because it adds it directly here by just clicking on here. And it shares it to the people that are in the event. Awesome. Okay. But sometimes we might want to add more details in here, like training will be virtual, join Google Meet here, above, whatever, and so much more. So you notice you have some rich text availability here. You can make this bold, italicize, underline, numbers, bullets, and so much more. Okay. And if you don't like all what you just did, you have the famous T/. If you haven't seen the T/ anywhere, you're doing yourself a disservice. Find the remove formatting, because that's usually the time that we're wasting. Remove formatting, and you've got a fresh start. Okay. So either way, you have that option. One thing that you don't realize, though, you do have rich text availability within links. So let's say, for example, click here to check out the resources, right? Well, I have a long URL. So let's say this example, maybe this is a document. This is whatever. It could be the resource of anything. But do you know for a fact that's a long URL, right? It could be the Google Help URL. It could be KCCI URL. It doesn't matter. Any kind of URL that is really long and lengthy, it's kind of ugly inside any email or anything else. So you want to use the rich text concept. And the same feature works within Gmail, Docs, and very similar other Google Workspace apps. So you've got a keyword like click here, right? That's telling the user to click this particular word here, right? So you highlight the word, and then you're going to click on the chain link, insert link. Then you're going to get a text box and a URL box. You're going to get a pop-up appears. This works the same inside Gmail, just slightly different view within the box. The first thing is the text of what's going to appear. The second one, which is the globe, is the global URL. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that link in there. And now I'm going to hit OK. So when they click here, it's going to take them to that Google Doc that I particularly put in there as well. Now, some of you may not want to do it that way. You like the paperclip. Most of us know by now the paperclip actually means to attach. So I'm going to click on the paperclip. You can actually upload from a Google Drive, or excuse me, from your desktop, which we'll do, or you can actually select from My Drive, Shared with Me, Starred, and so much more. The more users that have been putting files into My Drive, you can easily select from here. You have it currently in my view. I have it currently in my view in grid view. If you like the list view, you just toggle to the list view. Okay. But I'll show you, because many of us maybe want to attach something from your computer. You can go to Browse and select, maybe you have it on a P network drive or a drive or whatever the case may be. I'm going to go ahead and go to my desktop just to show you that you can actually upload and how this works. When you actually upload from a location on your hard drive or network drive, somewhere that it's not stored in Google Drive, you do know that actually when you do this, you are actually putting it in Google Drive, just for your knowledge. So when you do attach a file that's outside Google Drive, you're actually uploading it to Google Drive and storing it there, okay? So you have a new Microsoft Word file here attached, okay? Now, I have made these changes. It looks really, really good. Well, maybe not this one, but the one that you're going to do would, right? And you're going to hit save. Even if this was a brand new event, same thing would happen. Would you like to send updates to emails to existing Google Calendar guests? You've updated the content. So that's up to you. Hey, I added the agenda. Please review. Maybe you want to. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you did a typo. You don't want them to be a notification. You have to make that decision. Keep in mind, though, if it is outside the state of Iowa, best practice is to hit send for non-Googlers, okay? Next question is that some people need access to this file? Well, trainer 1 and trainer 4 are my guests to this particular meeting. They probably need access to view at least, right? And or maybe I want them to be able to edit or comment. I don't know. You fill in the blank. But at least gives me a prompt because I didn't do best practice and share that. Because remember, I told you this automatically uploads it to Google Drive. Remember? So I'm going to go ahead and invite them. And now trainer 4 and 5 will have access to that. And if you don't want to, you can obviously don't give access. And now those files will appear in the Google Meet underneath the I in your Google Meet because you have done good practice. So they can click on the I in Google Meet when they join virtually and have all that information directly there as well. It's a lot less clicks when you attach it through that as well. The other thing I'm not going to spend much time on because I don't do it a lot and I don't foresee many of you do as well, is you do have the capability of searching in Google Calendar. So I'm actually following along Objective 8, searching in Google Calendar. So we know by now, if we see a magnifying glass within Google Workspace, that's going to give us the capability of searching. So you're going to locate the calendar or the magnifying glass up at the top and then start thinking about searching. Don't forget, though, you do have a drop down. And this is where if you really are searching for something within Google Calendar, use the drop down. What calendars are you really looking at? If you really need to narrow your search, select only the calendars that you want to look at. Like maybe I do want to look at the Baylor Bears and look for the Cyclone game, right? So you can narrow it down by doing that as well. Or all calendars. Again, that would be too much criteria, I think. You're probably more likely just looking at your own calendar. I don't know, but definitely narrow your search by selecting only the calendars that apply. Okay, that's one thing. You might then, you can see here, oops. You can type in just a keyword. That's fine. I can type in party. Let's just show you how that works. Type in party. I'm probably going to get one. Might help if you spell it. And you can see it's bringing it up anyway. So you can see party at Jessica. Apparently I had a party on February 16th at Jessica's too. So you can see that. So it brings up anything with the keyword party. Okay, so that's an option. And then you can see who is the organizer. So again, this might be beneficial if someone did leave. And you're like, how many events does that person own? We probably need to transfer ownership on those, right? Or, hey, I replaced Jolene and Jolene replaced me or whatever. Well, I need to be the organizer of her events or whatever the case may be. You might just want to cancel the events and start over. There's many ways to do it, but there's just maybe onesies or twosies. It might be just as easy just to change ownership. So keep that in mind. And then you have all the date ranges and so much more. I don't want to spend, this is just pretty much a drop down and you have the capability of searching. And it comes inside the agenda view or also known as the schedule view. Okay. So it gives you in a list view format when you are searching. I have used this a lot more in my personal life just because I'm trying to deal with softball and track and trying to figure out what is what. And did I add too many events on one day? And so much more. So there is times that I use it, but not in a daily occurrence for sure. So I'm going to go to, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go to appointment slots. I don't want the year view. Thank you. Month. Okay. So the next thing is appointment slots. So I normally don't train this, I'll be honest. The thing is I did use this in my previous life. but I don't really use it in this one. But let me kind of give you verbatim so I don't mess up on the words. You can set up block of appointments on your calendar that people can reverse sign up. Okay. For example, a manager might want to block Friday afternoon from 2 to 5 for their employees, his or her employees, to sign up for their one-on-one. Okay, example one. Or in education, maybe parent-teacher conferences. The students or the parents might want to do a parent-teacher conference in this block of time. So you can have this block of time break down in increments, right? It could be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour. If I was a hairstylist, same concept, right? The things that you have to be aware of using appointment slots is that the person that is in the one that in the reverse, the parent or the student or the employee, has to have a Google account to sign up. Okay. So this is not going to work in the public sector in the sense of all the state of Iowa citizens want to sign up on this appointment slot. Not a good idea because not every employee or every citizen of the state of Iowa have a Google account. But if I was a manager and I would have people sign up for one-on-one, or maybe I want to meet with every Google team member, that would work. So it's not like a high case scenario, but maybe it could work for a few of you. So I want to point it out. And I do think there's some improvements coming along with appointment slots. So I kind of want to give you a little taste. So you're like, oh, I kind of see how that works. And I think there's more coming down the road with more interoperability. So it's something that we just need to kind of get you more exposed to. So let's go back to the scenario. Pretend that I'm a manager and I want on March 18th from 2 to 5, I want to make all my employees come and sign up a one-on-one. Okay, that's just an example, right? First thing I do is select the time frame that I want to have this selection. Okay, once I do that, then I'm going to notice this is where you have the different options. It's thinking, but this is where you have the event, out of office, and so much. There's an option that says appointment slots. There is, trust me. Reload. Someday I'll have a faster computer, but not today. But it kind of does slow me down, so I don't really want to complain too much. So again, going back to the scenario from Friday from 2 to 5, I'm the manager. So I'm going to select the time. I don't know what's going on. All right, let's just go to see what's going on here. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. I'll be patient. It's really thinking right now. You guys have probably got it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So you have focus, out of office, task, and that's right, appointment slots. So appointment slots, then let's just say evaluations. I'll name it evaluations. This is another example, right? So March 18th, 2 to 5. Okay, that's the time frame. Okay. Now I want the slots to be, let's do 30 minutes. That's fine. 30 minutes. Okay. You can add more options if you want and so much more. I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. Now, how do people, the reverse people, the employees in this example, my constituents, the people underneath me, sign up for these evaluations? How do they do that? Well, notice there's a new icon next to this one, right? So you're going to click on that event, and you will see there's a hyperlink in there. There's a URL address. Go to appointments page for this calendar. So this link right here, I'm going to click on this link, is the link you would provide for your end users to sign up, or your constituents, your employees. So how would I do it if I was a manager, and how I would use appointment slots? I would copy this URL, and this is supposed to have a fresher look in the future, I believe. So let's pretend that trainer 4, even though she's my bestie, but she's also one of my employees, and I want to do her evaluation. So I would compose an email or whatever the case may be, put it in a newsletter, but just to make sure you understand how it works for the other side, the reverse people. So trainer 4, it's time to do your evaluation. Eval. Okay. Trainer 4, it is that time of the year, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You need to sign up for your evaluation by clicking here. Okay. So don't mind the English. That's not the point of today's training. So now click here is where I'd put the link, right? Click the link, click here, you choose. We're going to use that rich formatting text to make it work. I'm going to click the link icon, which I did, and I got click happy, but it's not actually HTTP here. It is the URL that I just copied, right? That long URL that I just copied. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to send this to trainer 4. So trainer 4, remember, even though she's my bestie, she works underneath me, I need to do her evaluation. So that link is how it's going to look for the end user that needs to do the reverse sign up, right? So let me bring over trainer 4 again. I apologize for going back and forth, but this is really important to get both ends on a lot of this. So it's why we're switching hats here a lot. Okay, trainer 4, my bestie, my employee, that's the hat I have on right now, okay? She has to sign up for her evaluation by clicking here. Now, remember, that link is going to be the appointment slot link, if I did it right. Let's see. It takes me to the URL that I just copied, right? Now, I'm going to notice there's different slots here. So I can look at my calendar and determine when would be a good time for me to go. I think 4 to 4:30 would be a good time to have the evaluation. And I'm going to hit save. Okay. All right, I'm done. I could book more if I want to. So let's just look at this in the sense of trainer 4's account. So we know it was 4 something on March 18th. Evaluations, trainer 4, 4 p.m. Evaluation is spelled wrong. I know that, sorry. But you can see now trainer 9 is the organizer and trainer 4 is the guest. This is different than a published event, isn't it? Okay, so just be aware of that. So evaluations trainer 4, okay? This event was created from an appointment slot, okay? Now you can see then, let's go back to my account, the boss's account. How does it look for them? So let's go to trainer 9, the boss, the one that wants to do the evaluations. Let's refresh here. So you can How do they know who signed up for what? I think they get an email. Apologize for that. Nope. Yeah, I think you get an email as well. I'm not sure on that. I have to check. But you can see here, then you can see at 4 o'clock, trainer 4, which was my bestie. She is now the 4 o'clock time slot. And now no one else can book the 4 o'clock time slot, right? It's a one and done, okay? So it's not like you can book multiple people for the 4 o'clock, okay? That I know of, actually. I should not maybe correct myself on that. You have to bear with me. I haven't used this for a while. One, yeah, one. Yep. So, and you can make changes. And, you know, if I had a, let's say, for example, one question I've gotten, and this is very true. Let's say I want to do evaluations March 18th from 2 to 5. I also want to do evaluations March 19th from 2 to 5. If I put appointment slot on March 18th and appointment slot on March 19th from 2 to 5, both of those would appear in that link. This is your appointment page. So if you have multiple appointment slots, they're both going to show up. I know that for a fact. Think about for parent-teacher conferences. Mostly they're Tuesday and sometimes Thursday. Well, I would set up the teacher's appointment slots Tuesday, and I would set up for Thursday, right? That would work for them. So just be aware, like, it's the entire appointment slot, okay? So this would be if you really like this, I'd really like to brainstorm with you, but you would also want to think about, like, I would probably, if I were you, maybe create a separate calendar for those that need appointment slots if you're doing it in the masses, right? So kind of be aware of that. Anyway, I did provide in the Google Doc, there's a lot of resources regarding appointment slots in there as well. So if you want to check that out. At least I did put the link. I didn't put the link in there, but I will put a link in there. I thought I did. Let's not got that done. I'll add that. Sorry. But you can just Google appointment slots as well. But that's kind of the information I have for you today. So a lot of information in Google Calendar. If you are more confused with Google Meet, I would suggest taking the Google Meet training and kind of being aware of that and going from there. Or definitely check out the Google Meet help page. It's got a lot of information. It's got different buckets there for you. If you have questions with Google Calendar, please reach out to me. The biggest question I ever get, I'll finish it up here since I have a little more minute, is working with non-Googlers. So if I'm working with the governor's office, I'm working with DHS, or I'm working with ABC vendor that are non-Googlers, all I can say is they're not going to be completely besties. They're not best friends, okay? So you're going to have to do more work, right? So you have to take the time. You have to send them the calendar invitation, okay? You cannot not do that. You have to send it. So if you make a change and you want them to be notified, you have to hit that send, okay? All right, same thing. They have to send it back to you. So if they're working with you, they need to send it to you, okay? So if changes don't happen, you're going to get more emails, right? That's just how it is. More work with your non-bestie. Your bestie will know what's going on, right? And that's what Google to Google is. And Office to Office, they're besties, right? But not Office to Google. Google to Office are not besties in the calendar, okay? They're getting better, though. They're really strong acquaintances, okay? So just be aware of that. I actually give Google a lot of credit. They've done a lot of improvement with interoperability with Office, especially in the Google Drive environment. So be aware of that. I think more to come in Calendar, to be honest. So just be aware of that particular question. I get that a lot. And also notifications. I'm not receiving my calendar notifications. Well, first thing I'm going to tell you, have your calendar open. Make sure your calendar open. Your calendar app is open, much like mine is. It's got the pin tab, right? Because then it cannot accidentally be closed. So if you're not getting your pop-up notifications, first of all, check your settings and make sure you have notifications turned on. Check that Chrome is or your calendar is always open. And third, make sure you're not blocking it within your Chrome browser. Okay. So those are 3 things. Usually all 3 of those are end user mishaps. So just kind of check. Those are the 3 troubleshooting areas for you. with that, I will end. I think we all should go outside right now. It's like beautiful out. So maybe get a quick little walk around and pat yourself on your back for attending today's training. Thank you for your patience. With that, I hope to see you in the next adventure, which is Google Drive. Thank you so much and have a great day.